Hey everyone, John Henry here from School of Trade, and today we're going to be taking a look at a flag pattern here on the euro. A little bit of a different market here. Everything's been going a little bit kind of slow and sideways, so while we're waiting for everything to work out, the euro had an absolutely picture-perfect setup. So let me get my orders in place here. Because the size of this trade versus where my stop has to go is so small, we can hop in on this one with 4 contracts, no problem. So we'll take 2 off at 1.2410, 1 off at 1.2418, and then 1 off all the way up at 2.434 if we can get up there. So the way that this trade is looking right now is just absolutely picture perfect. I mean, let me hide my executions here. Now, at first, the euro kind of had a little bit of a difficult time today. You can see we've just been kind of meandering sideways, and we've been forming a lot of these little kind of sideways ranges, even small ones inside there. And every time they break out, you usually get a really nice move, and sometimes a really nice retest. They come back and hit that area and then bounce out. Now this time, we're coming right back up to the highs, and we're consolidating again. Now, normally, like you'd see back here, you'd expect this to fail back to the downside, but I'm actually looking at it to the upside. The reason being, we made a higher low. So this higher low tells us that there is a slight bias to the bull side, giving us a little bit of reason to like the upside direction a little bit more than the sell side. And one other thing that really makes me kind of dig the way that this looks right now is we came down to these lows and we tried to break out of the lows, and that was a relatively decent attempt. You know, 1 tick below, I really don't count those a whole lot. You want to see something like that where it goes 2, 3, 4 ticks out and then fails. Well, they did it on the high side once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and every single time it came down to the lows, but it failed to make really any new push down. So the sellers are really pushing here, but they're not really doing a whole lot. On the converse, when it came down to the lows and attempted to break out of the lows, it only did it one time, and it shot right back up to the highs again. So this tells us that there's a huge amount of buying pressure right now on the downside. So we do have a little bit of a struggle in the sense that we're going to have to get through these highs, but the way that everything is setting up right now, I really like how this looks. And you can kind of see it's more of a flat flag than anything else. Typically, you see those flags that always kind of come down in an angle like that. So it's kind of a both direction, a unidirectional kind of flag here, but with what we're seeing right now in context, with the buyers really showing their strength down here and the sellers really showing a lot of weakness up here, that gives me a lot of confidence to the upside. So we've got our target setting out at 1.2410. If we can get that one, we're taking 2 off at 13. The next target above that is going to be 1 off at 24.18. That'll give us 21 ticks, and then the final target all the way up here, if it can hit it, for another 37. Now keep in mind the euro ticks at 12.50 a tick, so taking 2 off at 13 gives us 26, another 21 and 37, a total of 84 ticks on the trade if we hit all of them, times $12.50, that gives us 1,050 on the trade. So looking at a relatively decent trade, even though we're starting with a nice small little risk. I think our risk is 11 ticks. 12 ticks. So definitely not bad at all here. So this may take a little while. Again, you can see these markets are relatively slow and grindy, but I am expecting this to break out, push up to the upside. Whether it'll hit that 24.34, that is an extended target, that's a 2 to 1. So it may take a little while before it hits that, but definitely looking for this 50% and the full 100% up at 24.18. So we'll be back in a little bit and see if we can start hitting some of these targets. All right, coming 1 tick away from our target here, getting really close, 24.10. Now, I really want to see this target filled pretty soon here because, again, like we saw back here, you're kind of expecting a little bit of a pullback, possibly a retest, and then go, but we are seeing that follow-through that we were looking for, and there we go. We got that 24.10 filled. So what we can do, get our stop to break even here, drop this down to 2 contracts instead, and now we're long 2 more contracts. So we're looking for the next target up at 24.18. Again, it may take a little bit of time to get up there. We've seen this move be a little bit grindy, but you can see a lot of people were thinking the same thing was going to happen here, that it was going to fall off. And the reason you know that is because look how fast this moved in comparison to the rest of the moves today, except back here. See how fast that moved? That gives you a big heads up that a lot of people got stuck on this sell side. All these sellers, every time it came up there, all those sellers got stuck and they all got stopped out somewhere up here. And that's what's driving this move to the upside, getting our targets filled. So looking to the upside here, still long from 23.97, looking for a next target up at 24.18. We're actually getting a nice little follow through here. So we'll see if we can start getting those targets filled, and we'll be back in a little bit. All right, we're coming. Oh, there we go. Got that filled. I was going to say we were coming one tick away from our target there. Got it filled up at 24.18. Beautiful move higher so far. Very, very impressive how aggressive this move has been. But really, we had a really big heads up with what we saw down here. It just gave us a really big clue that the downside was looking really ugly. If it did break down, it'd look something like this, where it breaks down and then shoots right back up. Maybe it comes into previous support somewhere, wherever that was. But right now, just a beautiful rise higher here. Got that second target. Let's lock our stop into one contract now. And now just kind of waiting for the final target all the way up at 24.34. I am getting a little bit aggressive here when it comes to my stop, just because this is such an aggressive move. You've got to expect a little bit of a pullback, but at the same time, if you see any kind of selling candle in here, any type of selling at all, you're going to expect it to fail, right? Because we've had such a strong move up here. The sellers that come in are most likely at least going to get swatted for the next couple candles, just like we saw back here. You have this really strong rise higher, the sellers attempt to come in and they get slapped right in the face, and then it pulls back. Kind of expecting the same thing over here. If you get a red selling candle, honestly, if you're really aggressive, you could probably just add on that red candle, wait for it to break, and then just go right back up again. But right now, just kind of waiting for that next break higher there. One contract left, looking at 24.34. So we'll be back in a little bit and see if we can hit that final runner up there. All right, coming into our final target there. Oh, and perfect, got it filled. All the way up to those highs. That is insane. What a large, big move to the upside here. Now, this move to the upside, let me cancel my stop. This move to the upside, you can see kind of what we were talking about there, where we had these sellers, this big move up came in. It had a little bit of a doji there, lots of confusion, kind of back and forth, maybe a little bit of profit taking in there. Got that red candle, little inside bar. A lot of people are going to sell that thinking this is the high, and guess where they got trapped in? That's what we were talking about before. With such an aggressive move higher, you can't expect the sellers to take over even the first, maybe even the second attempt, and they're just going to get swatted back to the upside. Easy little scalp potential to the upside there. Maybe that's about it. That's all you could have got out of it as a scalp, but still, the option was there. And they actually did it twice for you. You got another follow-up candle that happened right there. Same thing, popped right back up to the upside again, so another potential for a scalp up. So we got our targets filled up here, 24.34. That gives us 1,050 on the trade. Remember, that's 1,250 a tick, so it gives us 84 ticks total for just a beautiful run higher out of consolidation. So that's going to be the trade for today. If you have any questions about it, feel free to send an email to School of Trade. It's over the checkout or trial at schooloftrade.com, and as always, we'll catch you next time.